temple, your tears rinse my feet. I walk out, I'm able to carry your peace. It reminds me of a song that I heard long ago. Maybe I've always known that you were right there. A simple melody playing over and over in my dreams.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? We are live, and we are in a nice, newly cooled down Lion's Den this evening. It's feeling real good to be here. Thank you guys for joining in. We're going to get right into it, man. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Young Lion TV is in effect. We're live, everybody. It's Tuesday night, and we are in the Lion's Den. So you know what that means. We're going to talk about some stuff that needs to be talked about. It's what we do. Young Lion TV is just a group of friends, family, brothers, men that find the importance of talking about the issues of life.
And women.
And women. Women are involved. Yes, they are. But this is about something that we talked about at church, iron sharpening iron, and the way we bounce ideas off of each other and kind of, debate on certain things and just talk about life from the aspect of culture, politics, even just relationships, through the lens of our belief in Jesus Christ and how important that is for culture and changing the culture. So, if that's something you get down with, you're at the right place. This is Young Lion TV. And I got with me my brothers, my Asian brother. He's the coolest Asian in the world, Mr. Simone Chang, right here, rocking the Young Lion shirt and the hat there, man. I appreciate you wearing the merch. Yeah. And then we got, on the other chair, we got the half black, half Indian with the Spanish last name, Mr. James Garcia, a.k.a. Mr. Build Right, is here. And we got my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. He's the preacher, the teacher, the people reacher, Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III. And, of course, last but not least, we got the best producer in the world. She's our mother, and she is Miss Angeli Lopez. And that's the only time you'll ever see her throughout the entire podcast because she does not put the camera on herself. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everyone in the chat. I see you guys in there putting your messages in. What's up to Jess and Theris? Make sure you guys hit the like button, share this video. Help us out in the algorithm because, the algorithm doesn't really support the type of stuff that we talk about, the conversations that we have. So the best way to get it going is for you guys to share it and let people know that we're live and we're having these conversations. Also, if you want to support in other ways, we do have the Patreon. Shout out to our Patreon members because you are the reason, that we got the AC working again in this house. Specifically one Patreon member, a Lion King level member. Shout out to Jeffrey Walling, who was so very generous and and obedient, I'll say, and led by God to fulfill the need.
Where's the claps?
Woo! Oh, my bad. I didn't even bring up the clap software. My bad. You're right. Here we go. I got it. Bam.
And it's therefore
No. There we go. There's the clap.
Here we go.
Yeah, so praise God. Thank you to Jeff for being such an obedient believer and also being seeing the value in what we do here at Young Lion TV and wanting to support that and help us from dying in here on Tuesdays. So yeah, that was a beautiful thing. But all of you guys who support actually, helped out with all of that. So we appreciate all the support we get, especially the ones who have been here for since day one, Courtney, Emma, Paul. Those people have been supporting a long time and we appreciate you. We love all our Patreon members. And you guys know we're a community, we're a family. We get together, we do things, we hang out. We're trying to continue to build that with the Young Lions.
Speaking of hanging out,
what?
We got something coming up for the men.
We do have something coming up for the men. Go ahead, talk about it.
You're better at it. Okay. You're way better at it. I'm good at
you brought
talking
it,
about.
You brought it up.
Yeah, but you're good at breaking all those things down.
Yeah. Okay, so coming up on October 27th, we are doing a men's retreat. And I think how many spots are left?
There are only 4 spots left, right?
4 spots
Or
left.
6.
They are going fast, and you know, if you want to be a part of this, and we need some of our brothers to sign up and be a part of this, man. We looking to get some of our brothers involved in the men's group, men's retreat, which is kind of like what we do here, where we just kind of talk about things and you know, go deep on certain things.
Yeah.
So if that's something that you want to be a part of, you can check out the link in our description, and we're going to be promoting that too coming up soon. Starting in October, we'll start promoting that heavy. But you can also go to the Gathering Place Philly on Facebook and sign up over there to claim those last spots. It's going to be a men's retreat at a camp. And,
Overnight.
We'll be staying overnight. Everybody's gonna have cabins. There's gonna be food. There's gonna be games. There's gonna be some worship. There's gonna be some discussions.
Maybe some cigars.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be nice. We're planning to have like just a chill time for men to kind of like unwind and talk to each other and go deep on some things. So you guys could be a part of that. Also, we got a song coming out on Friday. We got a new song coming out. It's called Grateful. And it definitely speaks to what's going on with us. We're grateful for a lot that's going on right now. And we're doing a show at Lidditz Shirt Factory in Lidditz, Pennsylvania on that same day on September 15th. And then shortly after that, going to South Africa, which is going to be a great experience. So I think
Detroit first and then South Africa.
Right, Detroit and then South Africa. But we will be doing the podcast before we go to South Africa. So that'll be our last stream before we head overseas. So we'll do like
Maybe we'll live stream or something out there.
While we're there. We can live stream from there. I don't know if we could do a whole podcast setup
we'll,
because we're going to be so mobile. But we will have cameras. We will have computers. The mic setup might be a little weird, but we'll see what we could do to just live stream and talk to the people. Maybe just address the audience. But yeah, if you're on Rumble, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, Twitch, all of that, man, just drop a comment in, say what's up, say hello, let us know where you're watching from. If you want to chime in on the conversation, if you want to ask a question, or if you want to challenge anything that we're saying, hey, drop it in there. We will read it. We will address it. And we appreciate all the support that when you guys, speak up on things. Other than that, anything else we got coming up to talk about? You can get our merch if you click the link in the description on our merch store, or you can go to jatan.com for our music and our merch as well. All right, man.
Jeffrey said, praise all glory to Jesus. You know that.
Yes, sir.
Should we play a little bit of the song? Because we're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, we could do that.
On Friday.
Let's do a little debut. Do a little... Sure. Come on, man. Y'all want to hear a little bit of the song we got coming out? A little debut of the song? Let's go. Exclusive. This is our new song. It is called Grateful, and it will be dropping on Friday, September 15th. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. There it is. Oh, audio's messed up. Let's fix the audio. So much to do. Here we go. One more time. Exclusive dropping September 15th. This is Grateful.
love be coming true. Nobody else like you. Do what you promised to, and I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your love. I'm so grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm so grateful. I need you in my life. Grateful, grateful,
Yeah. Book. Yeah, so that's the new song, Grateful. Yeah, I'm excited, man. We've already been getting some really good traction with the DJ, some Christian outlets. We got a station in Australia already pick it up. So it's been good, man. It's been cool.
Yeah, excellent job, guys.
Thanks, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Can
You
I?
guys hear me, by the way?
Yeah, let me see. What's going on with you? Check now.
Testing. Yep.
There we go. There we go.
Nice, man.
There you go.
Perfect song for your embarkment into Africa, man.
I know, right? And bro, it's something that we didn't even plan. Like it just
Right.
happened that way. That's why it's like while we're there, we're gonna try to get some footage for it. We're gonna try to shoot some video
Yeah.
for it. You know, it's gonna be the perfect scenery environment for it.
Yeah.
So
That's what I like about you guys, man. It's like nothing holds you back, man. It's just whatever y'all are feeling.
yeah,
Like, no genre, just
James,
You
you're
know.
so out of frame.
huh?
I said you're so out of frame.
is he?
I'm out of frame.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, maybe I need to go back in this way.
Mom.
I'm good.
Annette, shout out to Annette in the chat, said loved it, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah, man. That's one of the things that is beautiful about
Not being in a box.
yeah, being independent and being able to do what we want to
Yeah.
do, and you know, not having to those restraints of having to answer to what a label thinks you should do.
Yeah,
or-
and just not copying, just you
Yeah.
know, doing something fresh.
yeah,
It feels familiar, but it's like new. It's like one of those things where it's like it sounds familiar, but it's like
yeah.
it's totally
Different, right?
Yeah, that song just started with us jamming
Mm-hmm.
new. Yeah,
in the beginning of rehearsals,
Yeah.
and then it turns into. That's how a lot of times it happens. It turns.
what's
into
that?
something.
What's that riff? What's that riff? That's with
Which
the guitar.
riff? Which riff? Which one do you mean?
With the guitar, that little yeah.
What is that?
I can't replicate it. Yeah.
Oh,
You
that
talking
one.
about?
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, it's just a guitar line.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about the bridge where it's like.
No, I like
guitar.
that. I like the riff, but I also like how you guys slow it down.
Yeah.
The harmonization, and then it picks back up again.
Yeah.
Like there's lots of like the production is what I'm trying to point out. I should say, production.
You appreciate stuff like that.
I appreciate production.
Yeah.
I love production, man.
Live musicians on it. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But
And then-
but what I'm saying is the way you guys write it, the way you guys perform it.
Right.
There's a production. There's a flow to it. There's
Yeah.
a flow that, to me, music now. And I'm not trying to dog everything up, but I feel like music is rushed because everybody just wants to dance.
Yeah.
Which I get, but I feel like a lot of times those fluctuations in the way the rhythm flow, but
Yeah.
not just the rhythm, the vocals. So the vocals match the
Right.
tune. You know
And
what
for
I'm
us,
saying?
it's like, you know, we've always loved harmony.
That's
So-
what I'm trying to say. Harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for to be able to showcase harmony at certain points in the song, even for a song like this, where it's like it is an upbeat song, it is
And it's
a
fun,
lively
yeah.
song, it's fun, but there's those moments where we can showcase the harmony
Yeah,
and bringing in a different emotion. It's that tension and release that you
Right.
get. You know.
And that's your calling card. You know what I mean? Your calling card is you guys do harmonize. So a lot of your
Yeah.
songs, that's your homage to what you guys do, which is, yeah, you know, the harmony. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Thank
James.
you.
Like I said, if I could sing, brother,
You'd be up there.
but I can't.
We can have four vocalists again. Go back to our old days.
I wouldn't
You'd
know
be
what I
Pete-
could do.
Pete
Man.
part 2.
I wouldn't know what I would do if I could do it. I mean, it's such an amazing. I mean, we all sing, but it's such an amazing ability. When I watch you guys perform, because I know the hard work that goes into this. So when I watch you guys perform and I see the hard work being, I don't think, I'm family, so I know, I'm doting
Yeah.
over you guys, but I'm just saying, like, for the people who are listening, I know the hard work that goes into this, so I know how much it takes to really bring something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you're right. A lot of people don't understand that. So when they consume music or when they
Right.
go to a show, it's easy to just kind of dismiss something that isn't told to you. You're not being told is great. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
It's easy to dismiss those things.
Right, because I know you guys are creating. And there's a big difference between someone saying, hey, here's this artist, make something that sounds like this. Versus you guys, like you said, you're harmonizing, you're working on things, certain notes, certain instruments that are hitting certain things, and you guys are figuring that out. Versus someone says, it's like when someone comes to me and they say, hey, listen, I need my kitchen redone. I need you to come up with something versus handing me a picture off of Google and saying,
Yeah.
copy this.
Right.
Well, I could do it. And it'll look like that.
Yeah.
But when you give me free, like what I did upstairs
Yes,
with
yes,
that thing.
absolutely.
When you say, hey, listen, go ahead and
do what you think will work.
Yeah.
And what happens when everybody walks in there? They're like,
Yeah, I know.
wow. That's the thing that catches everyone's eye because
Yeah.
it's like you could tell that your passion was in that. You
I
know
want
what I
to
mean?
say one thing. I'm grateful for you guys.
Thank you, Mom. We're
Young
grateful
men,
for you
great
too.
young men.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you, Mom.
Annette Carroll said loved it, and Thera said it's the bomb.
yeah.
So you think like AI is kind of exposing how it's easy to do whatever, and inspiration actually matters.
It's easy to duplicate what people are doing now with music.
Yeah.
It's easy.
yeah,
Yeah, I think AI is exposing that. But yeah, I think you're right.
creativity.
Yeah.
It would never have that.
Innovation, creativity, AI can't do that.
No.
You know.
And I think that those are things that as AI grows, because it will, those are the things that people are gonna start to realize the worth. Because I don't think people value music like
They don't.
they used to.
They absolutely don't. Yeah.
It's definitely not like it's just most music today. We call it throwaway music,
Yeah.
right? Like how many songs from 6 months ago are you really listening to? That's
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah, I was talking to I think Jake Hopes about this, about how it's sad because a lot of black culture, when it comes to music, is centered around music. Like it used to be about making music that would last forever.
Yeah.
And when you look at a lot of the music from the 60s, 70s, 80s,
Still good.
even 90s, it's
Still
like
good.
you could throw it on and people still they know that song, they love it, people will listen to it forever. But then we got to this era where it just seemed like music became about making a quick amount of money. The label started realizing they could profit better off of these cheaply produced songs that are easily created, that the budget doesn't cost as much to make them, so it's a higher return on investment initially. But in the long run, you really and maybe the label can still make money because if, like you were saying, you were in the gym and you heard Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind, by DMX, which, okay, the publishers and the labels still make money off of that record. But the sad part is DMX, sad to say, but before he passed away, DMX couldn't go out and fill Madison Square Garden like the Rolling Stones can. You know what I mean? Or Earth, Wind and Fire. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between the level of longevity that the type of music has.
Timeless. It's missing the timeless attribute to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's what is missing in music now, where it's just became about making quick money and not about.
And also there's the facade part where you're playing a role and you want to feel like you're doing something. Like how many we did that.
Yeah.
When we were young.
Yeah, we fell into that trap.
Making beats on the PlayStation.
And thinking you're doing something.
Thinking you're doing something.
Yeah.
Right. and it's so surface. And I was thinking about like people who stay on the surface. I was talking to you about this yesterday. People who stay on the surface, they do it to prove themselves and to secure themselves. But people who go deep, they do it to secure others and to prove others. That's what happens. Like the more you get challenged, the deeper you have to go. And people can go deep to prove yourself, but how deep can you really go? You know what I mean? Like, eventually you're gonna meet your match.
Yeah.
But when you do it for somebody else, that's a love. That's a love. Like it's not selfish anymore, right? So that's why it's so important. Like when you have a family, when you get married, you have a wife,
Yeah.
you have kids, you start to look at a bigger picture. You know.
I think that's why there's a huge push to eliminate that desire in people now.
Yeah.
You know,
But
to keep people at surface level thinking.
yeah.
You know.
But if every industry just stays selfish, then it stays surface.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like you don't really understand the point of those industries. You get what I mean? Like even what you do.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like how many people are acting like they know what they're doing out there and they really don't. And if you
Or the cheap route,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
people do the cheap cabinets. It's not what you do. You put your heart and soul into. You can create a cabinet, you know, from scratch. But people would rather just like the music. They would rather get the cheap stuff because it's cheaper and quick.
I was gonna say it's a very close parallel. Like the way the industries have shifted, and a lot of it has to do with mass consumerism and mass marketing, TV, the flipper culture kind of became like a quick way to make money. So
a lot of guru types. Trying to tell
so
people.
it didn't become about someone who's passionate about woodworking anymore. It became about like, I need to just get this done so I can sell this house. You know,
I was going to make a comparison when you guys said that there. I think for music, as a consumer, I think it became about the artist, the singular artist, and not the overall product of like the band. You guys are musicians. You guys write, put things together, and I'm sure they do too. But I think that when it became about the singular artist, the outfits, the clothes, the pyros, the outfit change, the divarism, the boss, the level, all of this stuff really took away from the actual focus on the content of the music. And then if you take that and tie it into, like you're saying, my world, or just in general, actually not even my world. Let's talk about what you were saying about the idea of me single. I'll live my best life. I'll go all over the place. I'm not focused on family because you're not even thinking about the quality. And then when you get to a certain point, then we stop and wonder, well, why is the music not good anyway? It was all about clubs. It's going about Miami. It's about having fun. It's about girls, getting cars. So it's really nothing unique.
right?
And then it's the same thing when you think of someone who's like, I want to live my best life. I want to just go live, eat, have sex, do whatever I want. And then they get to a certain age and the quality of life isn't there.
Yeah.
So the music is a reflection of that, where it's like, you could do it. You could live like that. But then don't be surprised when you get what you get out of it, which we're reaping right now. The decadence of the 90s led to this. We can't name, very few people can name songs of the 2000s that, like you said, we throw on a Marvin Gaye and it's not going to be a classic the way, it's not going to hold the test of time 40, 50 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Standing the test of time.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking about too. Like back to woodworking. What you do will stand the test of time. Like you created from real wood, real craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Just like a song that comes from, the soul, that stands the test of time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the material that we use now, like these houses aren't going to last hundreds of years.
No.
They're building now, but you see how there's houses or
Popping up everywhere.
buildings
Prefab.
Quick, building
Yeah.
it quick.
Yeah.
but there were houses and buildings that last.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
there's still stuff
there's
standing for
from
thousands
of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you understand that everything is about value, but in order to understand that value, you have to go deep. And again, people, when you want to look like something, when you want to look like the character instead of actually embodying that character. I think that's what we struggle with, especially in America.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. A lot of the people who are singing and artists in that field that you're in, they're copying what once was, but it's a watered down version of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you said, like, you know, I'm not trying to pick on DMX per se, but let's just use him since we're talking about him. Love DMX, think he's talented, but y'all gonna make me lose my mind when he's 71 years old on stage.
Right.
Ain't gonna be.
Right.
I mean, when he was 35 or 28 and he was doing it, we could believe it. But as a 75-year-old man, here comes DMX and he's old and he's up there with gray
Right.
hair and he's growling at a
Where my
mic.
dogs at?
It ain't.
Arf, arf.
That's why.
Yeah.
When you said something about the Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to knock the man. I'm just saying certain things just don't.
Yeah,
Cross over.
they don't stand the test of time. Like,
stand the test of
there's a
time.
reason why Lil Bow Wow can't. Like he was the biggest rapper in the world at a certain point.
Who?
You
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
it doesn't stand the test of time.
It
You know, and I think just like the flipper industry, just like the homeowner industry, the music industry got infested with a bunch of businessmen instead of. Because when the music industry first started, yeah, there was businessmen involved, but the main people that were in charge, like the A&Rs, a lot of even the record executives were passionate music fans, and they cared about the music that they were putting out. They cared about the product, and I think, you know, in the '90s and even like in the late '80s, they started to see the massive returns that they were getting from CDs being developed. For one, CDs changed the game. Because they could print them so easily and make so much money,
Right.
that it became more about like, all right, how can we lower our overhead? They started bringing in all of these corporate execs to run these music labels, and they're all about numbers, you know. So then it became about, well, which genres are making us the most money, so we can focus on those.
Algorithm.
Yeah,
Our algorithm shows
exactly. So
that there's some hose is selling #1. We need more hits like that.
Are you going to spend $2 million to house, you know, Kings of Leon in the south of France for a month so that they can write an album and then record it with a four-piece band that then has to be tracked and overdubbed and mixed and mastered? Or are you going to spend, you know, $60,000 to have Jay-Z do an album in New York somewhere with one microphone and a guy making beats? You know what I mean? Like, it's different. It's a totally different concept. So I think a lot of labels saw the value in pushing that.
Yeah, the love of money.
Yeah.
The love of money, but at the same time, you're cultivating culture. Mm-hmm. That's what craft does. All craft.
It has shaped
right?
culture, definitely.
All workmanship, all craft. It cultivates. It's a cultivation of a culture, right?
Yeah.
There's subsets of culture within culture,
Yeah.
right? And
Sorry, go ahead. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at a situation that Jamie and I encountered about a band named a certain thing that our family member just went to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there was actual violence there.
Yeah, right.
I can't go into it,
Right,
but
right.
I'll,
Right.
I'll tell you guys.
he told us
Yeah.
a little bit, but yeah. So there's a responsibility there, but when you're preoccupied by your focus being money,
Yeah.
then you're not going to see that, right? And then the ones like that's why anybody, just because you can sing, doesn't mean you're like if you're just looking at talent.
But the crazy thing is, dude, like it's gotten so bad that it's not even about that anymore. Because auto-tune kind of leveled the playing field for a lot of people.
Right.
Like
It's
if
more
you can
about your
halfway
story.
put a song together that is catchy over a
Well,
beat that's catchy,
Yeah.
that's good enough now. It's not even about like, let's just find the one who blows us away
Right,
vocally.
right.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying on a level of just talent.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can be talented in terms of like charisma, right?
Yeah,
There's-
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's other things that people,
X Factor, as
you know,
they call it.
Yeah. There's people who are talented at social media. That's that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
So, but when you just look at those things, you're missing out on people's character, and things start to fall apart.
Yeah.
Because those are you're serving this to people, and when you have no accountability with the people you're serving it to,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not blame like I don't even blame these people who are in these industries, like these execs. I don't blame them, because there's a lack of responsibility in community. Because if we were really responsible in our communities, we wouldn't allow this stuff to happen. So there's a breakdown there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
You don't think there's a hidden agenda?
I think that's part of it too.
I mean, yeah, there's
Why, you know, gangster rap was
there's
Let's
a
push to the forefront.
nah, I'm not even gonna go down there.
there's always a greater agenda. But I think the push more than anything is money.
Yeah.
I mean, we know the ultimate agenda is of the enemy to,
Right.
you know, use these things as tools for his warfare. You know,
Right.
Which
But
is ultimately what is happening.
Yeah, but anything that's driven by unhealthy desires is controlled by the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that pretty much happened with TV too.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that with my friend about quality premium family shows. I'm not saying everything from olden times were good, but certainly there has been a change in the way the portrayal of family.
Yeah.
At least from the way the fathers were portrayed, you know, in the home.
Yeah, I think
You
that
know?
was one of the reasons why we never really liked Married with Children, because that was like one of the first shows that kind of just made marriage look miserable.
Yeah.
The concept of family life and marriage.
The Simpsons, Homer Simpson.
Yeah, The Simpsons too.
Make the man look a certain way.
I like The Simpsons because I used to think it was hilarious, but I see it now, like what that was. But
Right.
Married with Children, like Al Bundy, Peg is just like this, you know, overbearing ditzy wife, and he hates his life. You know what I mean?
She's always fidgeting.
Yeah,
He's
You
living,
notice that
he's living in the
she was
past.
always
Yeah.
like moving her legs
Yeah,
because
right.
she was never settled.
yeah,
Right?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
These little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we were kids, you know, we will laugh at it because we're laughing at silliness. And
Yeah.
it's gonna appeal to us because our mindset, we're not mature. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like, I've heard the saying before. I don't know if you guys have heard this. When you're younger, you know, your thought process is very liberal. And I'm not talking politics. I'm just talking about the idea of what you feel you deserve.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you get married, you have children, you lean more conservative because there's something to protect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've heard that before, and I'm like, and until I was raised in a mostly conservative home, so, but people attribute that specifically to politics,
Yeah.
and then I realize that me coming from a Caribbean culture, that was already there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was here too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just this cross pollination of culture started to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
I think again, like we were talking about this last week, you have to raise your kids. You have to prepare your kids for adulthood. You have to consciously prepare them for adulthood.
Yeah.
Because you look at the teenage years. Again, I remember that guy said the clip I gave you. He said that most in America or Western civilization, we look at teenagers as older children, right?
Yeah.
Instead of young adults.
Yeah.
And we need to start looking at them as young adults. We need to start giving them their own. We need to start giving them tools so that, and challenging them so that they can create their own foundations.
Yeah.
For their own house, right?
Yeah.
Because we're trying to hold on to our house, but no, they have to start creating their own house. And I think that's the problem, is that they don't know what to ground themselves in or what to hold on to. So now you're just picking from what makes sense to you.
Yeah.
And then you're putting stuff together and you're saying, no, this is how I feel about it, you know? But when you know what something is, when you know what a man is,
Yeah.
right? You know what a woman is. You know what the roles are. Things start to come into view, right? And you start to secure yourself in a place, but that has to start from a younger age.
Yeah.
We as parents, you have to start challenging your kids to go into that. Like, that's why asking questions. Well, what do you think about this? Letting them do things, right? If you're always doing stuff for your kids,
Yeah.
and then you're saying, "Oh, you're never gonna get that right." You know what I mean? Like, how many parents complain? And how many women complain about their husbands and say, "I got to do it for them"?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how disrespectful that is?
Yeah.
And how belittling that is?
What would they do without us? Men,
Right.
Men are useless. All these terms.
But that's really just a way to control.
Yeah.
And it's a way to make yourself feel like you have it under control when you really don't. You know, it happens so much. But men, and I don't even blame women. I blame men more than anything, because we should be like, no, it's time. You got to know your place, right? In your role as a woman.
Yeah.
And for our kids, you're stifling him, right? How many single parent households, mothers raise up boys that never become men?
Hey, we were just talking about gangster rap culture.
Husband,
A lot of
son.
that comes from that those households.
Right. And then they say things like, "Oh, you're just like your father," and they want to keep them in a place where they can control them.
Right.
Right. And then when they go have maybe they get married, like, there's always a conflict between.
Is it by design? Are
Definitely.
they taking the men out of the household?
It's definitely
Yeah.
by
Design.
design. But it's not. It's it's a. Again, it's a design from the kingdom of darkness, or it's greater than humans. Yeah, humans bring it into a plan, and there's people who do have these wicked agendas, but most people ain't thinking about that, you know.
Let me give a shout out to Lisa Sloan. Said, "Hey, beautiful family, blessings and positive vibes," and she sent
up,
50
Lisa?
stars. And
Shout out to Emma.
Yeah, shout out to Emma, and also shout out to Theris for sending 50 stars. She said, "I love you all, grateful, I love it."
We're gonna see Theris this weekend, right?
We are going to see Theris in Detroit. She's coming
Detroit.
to see us. Yeah. Let's play this video that kind of goes along with what you were just saying, Jake. This one here, because I want to kind of get into some of this and some of the story around I don't know if you guys have heard about the Brick Lady hoax.
Heard about it?
The brick lady.
We gonna play a little bit of it.
I know nothing.
Let's play this real quick.
Not to bring race into it, but black men, why are y'all always letting us down when y'all go on these panels? Like, why? Serious question. I wanted to play what the black men had to say about what masculinity is versus what the cowboy hat wearing white man had to say about what masculinity is. Why?
Now this is the panel that we reviewed on here.
Yeah, you're right though. This is kind of like what I was just saying.
Yep, that's why it made me think to play it.
Yeah.
I'm a black man from the hood. To me, being a man is knowing when to be soft.
Point number one is a man who walks with God. Point number two is a man who stands on principle. Point number three, which is a masculine man, is someone who is willing to sacrifice for point four, the people that he leads. A true man is a leader. And number five, a masculine man is never a coward.
That's a lot there.
Yeah. Male and female matters. God gives you one of those identities, you take on that role. And now you're responsible for fulfilling that role. There's a masculine crisis because men are not taking responsibilities for the God-given roles that they have in society. And so when you take away the need to say, God made you this or God made you this, now you don't have to take responsibility for not fulfilling what you were called to do.
When you do that, you also take away other things that somebody else may do. If I have a woman or a partner that wants to take on certain roles and I say, hey, those are my roles that God gave me in society, now I'm suppressing that person. Like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings.
What it means to be a man is to be a adult human male.
You have the black man and the white man. The black guy told you he was black and he was from the hood. So that's his intro into all of this we're talking about. The white guy is speaking about God and principle. He's not talking about race. He's talking about God and what God requires a man to do. And I think the problem is that the host said it when he said that's a lot. There. So in other words, what the white guy is saying to the average guy today is too much. It's too much for the average guy to follow God and self-sacrifice, leader, never a coward. That's a great task. If we go the black man's route, he can literally sit back and let the woman lead. If you look at black culture, the women run it. The women run politics, the culture, the church, teachers, mostly. Like everything in the black community is ran by women.
It's interesting that we can put it into racial terms, that you find that the black guy behaves more like a woman. His thought process is more like a woman. He's lost his real identity. He's talking about there shouldn't be roles. You know, he's supposed to be the one that is setting the tone. He's supposed to be the one that is setting the standard for his home, for society, for his community. And he just sounds very lost. Where the cowboy hat guy, he's very determined and he's very resolute. He's matter of fact. He's not wishy-washy, and he sounds like somebody you can depend on. And this other guy sounds like, how you doing?
It's funny because people looking at this and they'll see the white guy and they'll go, see, he exemplifies everything toxic about manhood and masculinity. I don't know, I guess Christian Walker is supposed to be the black conservative on the panel. You make of that what you will. It just goes to show you how much blacks have bitten the forbidden fruit of Marxism. Feminism, such as it is today or such as it ever was, is just a mutation of Marxism. Friedrich Engels in his book, The Origins of the Family, about how the female sex should be ushered into the public sector in order to destroy or destabilize the monogamous family as a quote-unquote economic unit. And so when you have so many black men who buy into this entire oppression narrative, black identity, such as it is, has become synonymous with communism.
Yeah, it's a lot there.
Yeah, so really, much there in that one video
really
to go over. Like, man, I mean, first of all, we watched that panel months ago and talked about it, and kind of came to the same conclusions that they're talking about.
Yeah,
I will say it does make me feel hope. Like, I've been feeling like culture has been shifting lately.
Oh, definitely.
It has.
You know what I mean? Like, we were talking about music earlier, but then you have the Oliver Anthony song hit #1, you know, and for a song like that to reach where it reached without all of the things that we just described, you know.
Yeah. And I just want to make something clear. This is not specifically about just black men. It's about men in general in America.
Yeah.
What we're pointing out is that black males have somehow become the face of dysfunction.
Yeah.
Right? Some of it inflicted, some of it put on us by the society too. But we have to stand up and say, hey, listen, why do we keep saying the same thing or seeing the same thing over and over again? That's what we're trying to point out here.
Yeah.
Is that when one man speaks, forget the race, when one man speaks, he's speaking from a certain point that if you stop to listen, those are all the things missing in masculinity. And the other guy is already saying, he starts off by saying, I'm from the hood.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To be honest with you, you know what? I like watching him and even going back, remembering a lot of the stuff he said. Like, for me, like when you start off with that, I'm from the hood, and knowing a little bit of his story from what he said, I think that's the issue. Is he's kind of coming to it saying, this is where I'm from. I'm realizing that the way I acted wasn't right. But the problem is the solutions that were given to him were not good. Like you grow up in dysfunction and then you're given solutions, but those solutions are still dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And then you think that's right because it's opposite from what it seems opposite, but it's only the other side of the coin, right? It's not like it's overcorrection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's also you're pointing out how everything you view is through that lens of being a black guy from the hood.
Right.
You know, I think multiple times during this panel, if I remember correctly, he kept saying that as a black man in America.
Yeah.
It's like, and I remember even on the female panel, like that's what the women would always say. Well, as a black woman or as a, you know, this woman or that woman, it's like, that frames my entire identity in this way so that whatever happens to me is a result of, instead of...
Through the lens of my oppression.
Yes, exactly.
But also I think it's like recognizing even where you messed up or where you went wrong, but then just having horrible care.
Right.
You know what I mean? Horrible solutions because it's neglect. So now you just get more neglect and you call it care.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this is the issue. And feminism has done that.
Yeah.
Because feminism is it's a bad level of care. It's neglect. Right. But it seems like it's good.
Right.
It seems like you care, but it's actually just no, you're destroying things.
Yeah, its actual purpose was to destroy, but it was pushed as a way to give the illusion of caring for women.
And then you see men lose their identity, and he was lost. Like that's what she said. He looks lost, right? So. Because you don't know, like, okay, why am I dealing with stuff this way? Why am I so aggressive? Why? You don't know how do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
You got to reconcile that. It's not that those things are bad. It's just not put in the right perspective. You know, so a lot of times, like, we want to just do away with it all.
Yeah.
Because that's where the neglect comes in. Because people who care in that way, they think that, oh, aggression bad. No, aggression is good when it's put to use in the right way. So it's not that it's bad. It's that everything has a context, right? And when you put it back into the right context, it works. Yeah. When you take it out of context, it doesn't work anymore. And I think for a lot of these solutions that we've been given, especially in America in this time, they're taking something that's out of context and just taking it more out of context.
Right.
And it's more destructive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also want to make a point too. When you listen to Cowboy Hat speak about the role of a man, if you're programmed to think that he's coming from a position of oppression, everything he says after that, you're not going to listen to it because it's already triggering you to believe that he's speaking of it from an oppressive position, right? But really what he's talking about is actually responsibility. Right? And I think when that guy says, and I think when people listen to these things, because we have been programmed through politicians, through false teachers, through talk show hosts, these things trigger us. Pastors are one of them. But it triggers us. And here's what I'm saying. When he says, that's a lot there, what he's basically saying is, dude, slow down.
Yeah.
You're ruining things for us. Because
we got to do all that.
We got to do all that.
Yeah.
So this guy is saying, hey, listen, a man is this, and this, but he's missing the part where a man takes responsibility and he's willing to protect all of those things. Sacrifice all those things. So he knows that there's something I have to give, and he don't want to do that. So, dude, that's a lot there. Means don't give me all of that.
Well, but what is he doing? He's discounting it. He's devaluing it so that you don't pay attention to it.
Right. And that's what people do. And I think, let's be honest, a lot of men, when they don't want to step into the role of manhood, they love the physical aspect of it. You know, they love the physical aspect of it, but they don't want to be responsible.
Yeah.
They don't want to be responsible for certain things. You know, and it happens, you see it more when men have daughters.
Yeah.
Everything that they stood for, their boys, slanging and banging, street life. And when they have daughters, now they feel the need to like, hey man, we shouldn't be treating these ladies like that, y'all. Right. We shouldn't shove champagne stuff
Dame
and
Dash, like
all of them. All of those guys that were writing those songs, now listen to them
pouring
talk.
champagne on girls.
Hey man, let's be nice to these ladies, y'all. Because they have daughters now.
Right.
And they know what the seeds that they have planted and the things that they've done, they've opened a doorway to that. And they can't go back and say, hey, I'm going to give all those records I made about these, I'm going to give that money away to females' rights, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like, no, I've had a change of heart. And you can, but you've already planted that.
Right. And I'm still going to keep collecting these checks off of Big Pimpin'.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's the responsibility part. And that's what he was saying. You know, when you listen to it, but I was just wanted to point out that little last part. You know, that's a lot there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a moderator and unbiased, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot there.
I remember back in the day when you guys used to sing in the beginning. Remember you guys said that these young little girls.
Yeah.
That's when it hit you.
They would be
young
singing.
little
They would
girls.
sing our lyrics.
Singing your
Yeah.
lyrics, and then you was like, wow.
Well,
That's when it hit
yeah,
you, like,
because you don't. That's the thing. You don't think these things through.
Yeah.
You're not thinking it through at the moment, and that's where a lot of these people are in terms of they were focused on getting girls, but then they realized, wait, my daughter's now the girl that people trying to get.
And she likes the music.
yeah.
Right.
So you don't account for that. You didn't think about that. So again, what is he doing? He's discounting it. Don't think about that. You know, no. Let's just focus. We need to focus on this. Why? Because if you can get people to focus on one thing and not all this other stuff, you can rule over them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the agendas. It's
Right.
always to get people to focus on try to get them to focus on what you think they should focus on.
Well, I think one of the things that Cowboy had basically brought was order, and that's what he was pushing back against.
He had
He's
it.
like-
He had it in order.
He's
One,
like,
two,
three.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, because if you bring order to this, then
It's
all
accountability.
of the chaos that we're trying to bring to it is
Yeah.
gonna get
Yeah.
like we can't bring this. But what about the transgender guy? But what about the effeminate man? But what about because we all have a space here as men, you know. But if you bring a structure and an order to what a man is, it's like hold on now.
Yeah.
You know, we can't.
That's why, I remember for a while, I never really grasped how in the Bible it talks about how you confess your sins to God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that. But then it says confess your sins to one another.
Yeah.
Right? In James 5.
Mhm.
Right? So that's a different thing. But then it's crazy because you know what comes from that? Healing. And in order to heal, you gotta it's not a physical healing,
Yeah.
it's soulish healing, right? It's from the soul. But that's trauma. So you're like, man, why do I keep doing these things that I keep doing? Because you're not confessing them. You're not, and the confession is the responsibility.
Yeah.
You're making it known, and that's a lost art. I'm
Yeah.
saying that for a reason. That's a lost art.
Just
Because
just like
that's-
what we've been talking about.
That's cultural.
Yeah.
It should become a part of our culture, right? It should be. What do our artists do? They create culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I say that's a lost art, that's something we need to bring back. When we confess, especially for men, this is what, especially for men, when we confess what we're dealing with to one another, because that's what we're dealing with that we can't overcome. Those are our sins. And then what do? We pray for one another, right? Like you're not looking down on somebody like,
Yeah.
how they dealing with that?
Right.
You're looking at it like that's a struggle they have. I might not have that struggle, right? But I got these other struggles.
Yep.
If I'm real,
Yep.
I got these other struggles, right? And then you create a culture, you create a community where people can grow in strength.
Yeah.
Because I got your back for real, you know? And that's where healing really comes from. But when you're always pointing the finger, which is, this is where the Black Lives Matters thing was going. Like, who was the dude that chose not to do it? The basketball player.
Oh, damn, what's his name? I know you're talking about the Christian guy.
Yeah,
I
can't remember his
can't
name.
think of his name right now.
But he was talking about it, and he was saying that when they were basically saying like we're all gonna have to do it, and he's like,
him.
yeah, he was like, I'm not doing it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. He was like, I do agree that there's issues going on, but I choose not to handle it in that way. And basically, I'm like, the way he's saying is like, if you point the finger at them, who's gonna take responsibility? You know what I mean? Like you're just putting it off on them,
Right.
but
Jonathan
you can take
Isaac.
Jonathan Isaac.
And he was saying, I want to take the responsibility, right? So I take the responsibility by not wearing the Black Lives Matter shirt, by not kneeling, right? Because, and then you even think about kneeling, you know, it's a disrespect. What does disrespect do? It causes division. You know, you don't want to create community. You want to break things up. You want to disrupt it.
Right.
You want to destroy. You know, but when people lay down their lives and they say, I'm not going to point a finger. You know, what are the things I can look at myself? How have I wronged? I can see the things in my own life that I've done wrong. So how can I point at a whole race for doing things wrong when I've done the things wrong yesterday?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's responsibility. Men are lacking that. And if we as men start to cultivate these things are going to shift, you know?
Yeah.
I was going to add confession, not just for men, but speaking of across the human race, but for men specifically. A confession brings accountability, and accountability brings order. And I think a lot of times, a lot of people, what they don't want is they don't want accountability. They want to complain. They'll confess it, but they want to stop right there. Because then with the confession, you have to forgive in order to move on.
Right.
The forgiveness part is actually for you. It's not for the other person. It's so you are not carrying that load around. And I think for a lot of men, specifically men we're talking about, they don't want to be held accountable. Because if I confess to you, if I came to you guys and say, fellas, I'm struggling with this, and you guys, listen, let's pray. We're going to help you.
Yeah.
The minute you see me doing things close to that, you're going to confront me. And that's the confrontation.
Yeah.
Now, that's me, and my desire to continue that is going to tell you whether I truly meant it or not. You know what I mean? Because I could slip. But if it happens over and over again, and you keep seeing that I just want to do the confession part, but I don't want to take accountability.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what it is, because out of that would be the order comes. It's going to be hard, but having you guys, like we all here, we're all men, we're all fathers. There's certain accountability that we have for one another, right? But it would have to be me to do. You guys can't force me to do it.
Right.
You could just hold me accountable
And point it out. Yeah.
But you can't force me to do it. And I think that's what a lot of men are struggling with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. So I wanna show this clip. I want to talk about the brick lady, kind of lead into that, speaking about pointing fingers, accountability, all these things. This is like a completely viral story, especially in the black hemisphere of YouTube and Twitter right now.
Jamie and I in the black sphere.
we dabble in the black sphere. Y'all really are not in there like us. So we always talk about these little stories that pop up. So this woman has been deemed the brick lady, and she is a Somali refugee lesbian who went viral for. I'm gonna play this clip right here. You can pull this up, Mom.
Yo, this
let me just say there's gonna be language because she's from New York. There's gonna be language.
man just hit me in my face with a brick, and all these black men just watch, and they don't give a fuck. Yeah, this man hit me, fucking grabbed a rock, and he hit me in my fucking face because I would have given him my number. And all y'all just fucking watch. Y'all see that shit? Y'all see that shit? What y'all gonna do? I want y'all to be a man. I want y'all to be a man and fucking do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face? Man, fuck all y'all niggas.
Okay, so
what was that?
That was from inside the party before it happened. So apparently it's at like a nightclub. This clip went completely viral, and it completely divided men and women, of course. Like, women were in this thing dragging men, calling men all kinds of useless, worthless, and that no one protected this woman. This is why black men don't care about black women. You know, all of this division over what happened to her, you know.
So-called.
Yeah. So, of course, it turns out the internet and of course the men looking at this and were like, something ain't right here. There's something about this story just doesn't add up.
Yeah, like what man is gonna go to those lengths?
Because you didn't give him
a break. Like, I'm already thinking that way, and I don't even know.
Yeah,
like I thought it might be true, but I'm like thinking in my head, like, that don't make. Why would somebody do that?
Yeah,
they must be crazy.
So the first thing that people did was they started going into her history on her Instagram and Twitter, and she is a quote unquote influencer. She has a history of making videos, cussing men out, calling men all kind of stuff, saying she also has told black women that trans women are better than them because I forget what she said, but she basically was trashing black women, saying that, you know, trans women are better than them. She's, you know, always talking about how LGBTQ stuff and
do you have the clip of her actually hitting men?
I don't have the clip. I was trying to find it, but there's other clips of her where she just walks up to random white dudes and smacks them in the face.
Wow.
She's just slapping them.
Yeah.
She's just walking up to specifically white guys and just hitting them in the face.
But then somebody hits her with a brick and she's making a big thing, but she slaps people in the face.
So that was the first thing about it, was that, you know, this lady is claiming to be an innocent victim, but then they went into her history and saw that she's an antagonist. And there was a guy that came out saying that he was there. Turns out he was never there. But, you know, when you see all those guys in the background, they look kind of confused. She's just doing a rant on social media. But she then opens up a GoFundMe and raises all this money. So I'm going to, hold on, let me see if I can see. Let me see if I can see if I find this. Oh, here we go. I think I found it. Yeah. So this is what James was talking about.
Don't you ever fuck with Brianna Taylor ever again. Don't you ever fuck with Brianna Taylor ever again. Don't you ever fuck with Brianna Taylor.
Let me see if there's other ones too of her. So then she does this video of herself in the hospital, and she keeps going with the video saying like, I can't believe somebody would do this to me. I've never done nothing to nobody. I'm the nicest person in the world. I've never did it. Like she goes, I've never done nothing to nobody. And then the internet, the sleuths, they started digging into this story, and let me just give y'all a little bit of what was uncovered.
Today on Ghetto News, man, I'm sorry to report, we may have gotten bamboozled, kerfluffled, hoodwinked. She didn't just pull the wool over our eyes, she pulled the whole damn sheep on our face. So we all know this lady, right? The brick lady, aka Ro Reacts. Now it seems like she has a history of doing this sort of thing. Basically in 2020, she actually, once again, played the victim to actually get GoFundMe donations. And I want y'all to listen to this.
Years we've been scammed again. Rhoda Osman, the brick lady, appears to be a scammer that uses victimhood to create GoFundMes. Her first incident was in 2020. She claimed she was assaulted by a dollar store security guard.
And man, did the story get crazy. Man, this story got more twists and turns than a Jamaican street. Seems like we got Carly Russelled again. She had black women coming for black men all over the internet, but as more details of the story came out, man, her story was flakier than a 90-year-old crotch. Y'all remember her claiming that none of the black men around actually came to her defense? Yeah, that one. Now watch this clip.
Yeah, talking about I got hit with the brick, you know, and we was trying to help her. That's all we was trying to do. You see what I'm saying? We was trying to help her. I called the police and stuff like that. They pulled them. I talked to them. I know they got the video.
So that was bullshit. Now y'all remember this guy who claimed he was there? Oh, nope. His ex-girlfriend outed him. He doesn't even live in the same state. He was just another motherfucker doing it for clicks and views. Oh, so the owner of the establishment also finally spoke out. So he reviewed all the security footage, and there was no video of her getting assaulted in any shape or form. And yet she was able to still raise $40,000 on GoFundMe donations this time around. And now for the obvious question. I'm pretty sure we all see that swelling on her face, right? On top of not filing a police report, it's alleged that she actually got treated for an allergic reaction, guys. Oh, just in case we can't put one on one together, guys, she did this for clout, she did this for views, and she did this for money. And she knew that by stirring the pot between black men and black women, it would do exactly that. So, us at Ghetto News, signing off. Y'all.
Yeah, and
she take a B and
no. So when she did this before, she raised like a couple $1,000s here and there. She's done this 3 times. This is the 3rd time. This time she raised I think it's almost $50,000 total. But
feminists are about to
hold
get
on.
really mad at me for this one. You guys remember this woman who was hit in the face with a brick? Even though it appears that she's having the same allergic reaction she was having in this video. I think this woman set this entire thing up as a hoax. In fact, actually, I know it was a hoax. Coincidentally, every few years she gets attacked in the face by a random stranger, fails to make a police report, but makes a GoFundMe and garners thousands of dollars. Here was her first one. And her second one in 2020 where she garnered $41,000. And here's the video she used
In
to sucker
2020.
people into that money.
You grew up and they mad because you trying to fucking beat somebody. They mad because you trying to beat somebody. I'm trying to be a doctor and they mad. Look what they did to me. Look what they did to me for no reason. They don't beat me up. I'm 30 years old. They gonna beat me up.
Interesting. So not once, not twice, but 3 times you got beat up by strangers, strange black men, didn't make a police report, but made a GoFundMe. And then conveniently, when the $41,000 is probably run out, now you're back at it again. Using black men as these monsters to your fucking scheme and using a very serious issue that's not taken seriously enough, which is violence against women, as some sort of like leverage to your hoax. It's absolutely sickening and disgusting. And you guys can question me all you want, but the people who were there, including the club managers, okay, all attested to the fact that this never happened. This woman was never hit in the face with a brick. The club that she was standing outside of, they have security footage 24/7. They released a statement saying that there was no incident with her getting hit in the face with a brick. The 2 guys that she filmed.
All right, so we saw all that. Now you're thinking, so what's all the swelling, right? I'm telling you, the internet don't play, man.
Are you trying to get your faceless
found
YouTube
it.
channel off the
Hold
ground
up.
and grow it?
Let's
that
let
you can
this.
have
Let me
some
skip
steady
this
income
ad.
coming in and make-
Freaking post.
Hold up.
But she could not articulate who did it to her.
Hold on. Let me find the spot because there's a specific spot. I had it selected, but
You know who contacted me? The nurse from the alleged hospital was not a hospital. It was a clinic. She came in to get the saline extracted from the side of her face, which means she never got hit with a brick. She injected saline into her face to create the lump. She claimed it was a botched beauty treatment. She must have filmed that little clip while waiting on the nurse after asking her to put on the gown. And y'all fell for this.
That's charity fraud. The whole purpose of this was to get sympathy from people and, be the victim. It's not the first time. There's other videos showing that she's done it before. Except for that's charity fraud, and that you can get jail time, plus have to pay restitution for the people you scammed. So she was...
yeah. So apparently she had access to the supply of saline because she was in school to be a doctor. So that's why all those times her face was swollen, but she would keep touching it. Like people were pointing out, like if she really got hit to the point where her face,
that's what I was about to say,
looked like Martin from Tommy Hearns episode.
I've gotten hit in the face before.
Yeah.
And a brick.
Yeah.
You get hit by a brick, it just ain't gonna swell up.
Yeah. There's broken bones.
Yeah. There's cuts. There's broken skin. Yeah.
Blood. There was no blood.
Bruising.
Every time I've seen her from these assaults, it's just swelling.
Yeah.
There's really no bruise. I understand she's a darker skin, but I'm just saying, you get hit by hands or something like a brick, a dense object, you're bleeding. It's major.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't be able to use her jaw to talk, like her mouth.
Right.
To speak. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so I mean the reason why I thought this story was relevant is just because using the division of knowing that there's a tension in with black men and black women right now, and using that to bait them against each other to then raise funds from black women who want to help you as a way to basically crap on black men. You know what I mean?
And people will, because there was a lot of videos with girls making it saying that black men are useless and things like that. I've seen plenty of them on just, believe in her without looking into the story itself. You know what I mean?
It's obvious they believed in her. They GoFundMe, what, 40,000 was it?
That was in 2020. She raised another 40,000 off of this one.
I mean, but again, it shows the level of dysfunction because it's there. The fact that she can use it is the fact that it's there. You know,
right?
And GoFundMe can't flag. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what people are saying they should do now. They should flag those funds.
She's using the same name, right?
Yeah.
Because it needs to be linked to an account.
Like I said, no police report. 3 incidents. There's no police report.
Just to GoFundMe.
Just to GoFundMe.
Yeah. And apparently she's like a single mother. Because she used that in one of her GoFundMes, you know.
Feel bad for that kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
God bless.
I'll play one more short video on this where someone was kind of going into the how she needs to apologize to black men.
Happens to you, put a GoFundMe up. Check out these GoFundMes, 2 different ones, $40,000 from the brick, and then about $4,000 something from the time in 2020.
Why? I always lie to the people of the global minority and men.
She never filed a police report. There was never no surveillance from the store where she claimed it happened. And then you go and you throw a GoFundMe up. I hope the women that came online and dragged black men because of this, I hope y'all drag her for scamming. I hope y'all drag her for lying, because let me tell you something. No accountability amongst black women. When a black woman's really, really in danger, nobody's going to believe us because of situations like this and because of situations like Carly Russell. I said what I said. And my name.
You were just talking about accountability, James. Like, yeah, there's got to be accountability for this type of behavior,
right?
And it, like Jake said, it exposes that there is a huge issue there in our community that needs to be addressed.
Yeah,
we need to figure out ways to fix this. You know.
Yeah, it starts with holding her accountable.
Yeah.
And but there's always going to be people who, like, man, back in the day used to be shamed for stuff like this, right? Like you couldn't be in a community doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you know, some of it, like there's always bad sides, like, you know, where people can be too gossipy and or gossipy at all, and talk about people and don't have any love. But you do have to hold people accountable and say, yo, you're not going to be around us if you're going to act like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're not taking that. No, you can't. But
she needs to go to jail.
I think what was surprising was immediately, via the internet at least, she was being held accountable by people who were calling it out. It was just that this divide between men and women, more specifically black men and women in this particular incident, has showed that we've allowed this venom to penetrate us so much that we just want you want restitution no matter who did it, who didn't do it. And it's sad. It really is sad because she picked up on that. She picked up on the fact that she could do this. And like we talked about a couple weeks ago about the LGBTQ thing and the men being able to go into female spaces, bathrooms. Fine. But there are going to be some guys who are going to pretend to be a woman just to be able to get into female spaces.
Yeah.
They're going to be that. Just like for her. They are real women victims. No doubt about it. There are men who are monsters. But they're going to be women who are going to pick up on the fact that there's an anti-male rhetoric out there.
Believe all women.
Believe all women. They're going to pick up on this and they will accuse. And for the women who are saying, so what? Okay, when it's your brother, when it's your father, when it's your son, your nephew, the people you love, you can't go and be like, well, my son is good, my daughter, because this happened when Oprah started the Time's Up movement. The woman that led that, her son was accused. And what did she do? She wasn't ready to castigate him and destroy him. She stepped down and ran away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't pick up rocks and throw, and then when it's coming back your way, now you want to scream, hey, don't throw rocks. That's what the environment you're creating is this. So, and that's what someone like her, so she picked up on the fact that there were women ready to destroy without even knowing the facts. And And of course, men do this too. We know that. But in this particular incident, she recognized that if I could sell this, they'll be rewarding it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what you're seeing.
Isn't it interesting how, like, how many times have you heard people talk, well, in the black communities, talk about how, like, look at the Jews, look at how they, as a community, right?
Mhm.
Look at how they are there for one another.
They work together.
How they work together.
Yeah.
But the things, like, they're looking at, like, we need to be like this. But the problem is that what unites you?
Yeah.
Because they go deep in the scriptures, even though, like, I don't agree with their conclusions, but
Right.
but they have something. What do you have? Surface stuff. Let's make money together.
Trauma bonds.
Or we're
all
black.
Right. We're all
We're all
victims.
black.
Victims
You know what
of
I
the
mean?
white
Like,
man. Yeah.
It has to go deeper.
Yeah.
Or else, like, dude, what's deeper is your trauma. What's deeper is, and the moment that stuff comes out, there's going to be division. Because you have to go deeper.
I think that's what a lot of this stuff is exposing. That it can't just be we're black, so that means something.
Yeah.
You know, that means we got each other's back.
It's
in
so
some way.
surface, right?
Because, like, what she's doing, like you said, she's picking up on the fact that there's this turmoil in the community. I can use it to my advantage. I can capitalize off of it. She tried it at first, because she talks a lot of pro-black stuff in her videos, and she tried it at first with the white security guard. That was her first little attempt to raise money, saying that, you know, that they harassed her and they tried to abuse her and everything. And she saw that got some traction.
Right.
So then she just kept upping the ante. And I think the problem is, well, what she didn't expect was that black men were gonna, like, black men were gonna expose it, like,
and some women.
Yeah.
Some women. You know what's crazy? My dad when I was younger, he used to say to me, nothing good happens past 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just as a way
Yeah.
to, like, keep me from wanting to go out.
Yeah.
You know, he would tell me this. And I would say this, right? Someone like her, in general, like, the setting of I'm out and about in the nighttime having fun, and this is what happens to me. Because we're in this world now where that's your right to do that, I should be able to go out and have a good time. You don't understand what comes with that.
Yeah.
So she picked up on the fact that I could totally use the setting
Right.
to help my story. Because I'm out at nighttime, a guy asked me for my number, and I
Right.
said no. How many girls can relate to a guy being too pushy?
Too pushy, too aggressive.
How many girls can relate to that? So she already has, all right, I'll say this.
And then that fear of it escalating to that point if I tell them no.
Women are very fearful of
Yeah.
that. But why? Because men have done that.
Yeah.
There
I
are
don't
men.
know about bricks, but
But there's definitely, I've definitely
there's
seen
men that will have cussed out girls.
cussed out
you know.
girls. You ain't that cute, no
Yeah,
way.
right.
And we have witnessed that.
Yeah.
We all have had friends that were too aggressive.
Yeah.
So she picked up on these, and when we talk about, hey, why shouldn't you do this? Well, why not? Why can't I go? Oh, your kids. When my dad and my mom would try to explain, hey, why is nightlife culture bad?
You ain't
Why
listen,
is
though.
Ooh, I ain't listen.
Yeah.
But luckily, I had that fear, not fear. That discussion opened my eyes to the possible what could go wrong.
Right.
What I'm saying is this: there are people who pick up on these inflections in society, and they know that they can use these undertones to induce sympathy in people.
Yeah.
Right? In order to get them to sway them to their side. Like I said, this guy asked me for my number, and I said no, and he hit me with a brick.
Yeah.
Oh,
right. We got to rescue this.
We got to
girl.
rescue her.
Yeah.
Right? Not needing to know anything else.
No one should ever.
No one should
didn't
have.
they show this on The View? Like, didn't they, like, I think they, like, this made the rounds.
I'm sure it did. I didn't see that part. But
They showed it on The View.
I think so.
They didn't learn from Juicy Smoulier.
No. I mean, like Denzel Washington said, hey, the need to be first is
Yeah.
way better than need to be right. But what I'm saying is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, we pick up on this. And I think that, I mean, not we. I'm talking about the idea of a person who can capitalize by scamming. They pick up on all society's flaws too. And they notice, oh, they do this, which is what we see. And I'm seeing this now more than ever. In my town, there's a bunch of sort of like gypsy-ish, kind of like Pakistani-ish, like women, and they have these signs, and they have little children, and they have a shopping cart. Help. I'm going through this, this, and this. And I stayed there. Yeah, I stayed and I watched. I was like, I want to see.
On a stakeout. You should have filmed
I did.
it.
I had time.
You should have
And guess what? Guess what they went into?
What?
A Mercedes. It wasn't a new one, but it was a Mercedes.
Yeah.
And I saw where that car is parked all the way around by the shop, right? Out of view. She had the sign. She stayed there long enough. And I was just, I'm going to chill for a second. And I stayed. And it started to rain a little bit.
Yeah.
So I knew I had, all right, it's not going to be too long. And then they made their way back to the, and so they plead on people's heartstrings.
Yeah.
Now, are there people who are in need? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying now to the audience out there is this: there are men who pick up on certain tendencies, and there are women who pick up on certain tendencies, and they see it and they use it for their own benefit. And a lot of times, that's what we don't pick up on. We don't see that. You know what I mean? That's what I'm suggesting.
And I think also, even to tie it into what we were talking about earlier with the modern feminism and how it has become a basically a weapon for the devil, is everything that she's talking about were tools of feminism that led her to that point. You know what I mean?
We've heard it before.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem unnatural.
Right. I'm out having a good time. I'm partying. I'm smacking people in the face, twerking, you know, living my best life.
Did you see the other video I sent? It's talking about feminism.
Which one?
Where the English girl, she's talking about like a lot of where it came.
Yeah, I did see that one. I was in Just Pearly Things.
Yeah.
I think I got it right here. I'm trying to load it up. Yep. No, wait, that's not it. That's not it. Where is it?
The smallest
These are
articles.
TikTok videos.
They were talking about where feminism came from.
Yeah.
Or I think it was more like the plan of how it
yeah, the plan.
Okay, I think I got it right here. Oh man, how do I rewind this? Yeah, here we go.
How do we destroy the family? By destroying the American patriarch. Well, this might shock you, because I also thought the same for a very, very long time, that the people who created feminism actually were nice people who wanted the best for everyone and just wanted equality. Okay, here's what really happened. So, Kate Millett, she was an American feminist, author, and artist. She is the founder of the National Organization for Women. Her sister, Mallory, was invited to one of the first meetings that established the National Organization for Women. So this is a feminist group that has been around since the start of the feminist movement, and they basically pioneered the whole movement. At this meeting, they gathered around a large table with Kate Millett, the chairperson, and she opened the meeting with the following back and forth recitation. So this is how the beginning of the meeting went. Why are we here today, she asked. To make revolution, they answered. What kind of revolution? The Cultural Revolution. How do we make cultural revolution? By destroying the American family. How do we destroy the family? By destroying the American patriarch. And how do we destroy the American patriarch? By taking away his power. And how do we do that? By destroying monogamy. And how do we destroy monogamy? By promoting promiscuity, eroticism, prostitution, and homosexuality.
Come on.
So this proceeded with a long discussion on how to advance these goals by establishing the National Organization of Women. Leader's sister says, it was clear they desired nothing less than the utter deconstruction of Western society.
That just reminds me of the BLM manifesto that they quickly took down after it went viral.
Yeah.
To,
Restoring the
edict.
nuclear family.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah.
So I would say this, right? Speaking of men, this is our floor in this. We would hear that, right? But I think the reason why a lot of men sat back was because they witnessed the era of free love, free sex.
Mhm.
And they benefited from the physical aspect
Yeah.
of females' disorder.
Yeah.
So they didn't care. because they were getting all of the.
Andrew Schultz has a joke that perfectly lays that out.
I heard it. I've heard this joke
where he talks about feminism. He's like, "We want the same things.
We
as
want
you.
the same thing you do."
Yeah,
and I think like this goes back to what I was saying about men, right? When my mom sat me down as a young man, and she wasn't doing this because I was breaking any rules. She was just giving me perspective on how I was to behave, and if that was any question about my character, if there's any question about my character, how I was going to handle things. I have 3 sisters, right? How would I want my sisters to see me, and how would I want men to treat my sisters? Now, she's not putting this on me in the sense of like, yeah, and you are responsible. She was just showing me that the ideas I have as a young man, and she pointed out her brother's flaws. Not to put them down, but I think a lot of men won't stand up against out of order behavior because it benefits them sexually.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go to Cancun and I want to be able to have sex with as much girls as I want. And I want to go to wherever I want to do whatever I want to do. I want to sing because I want to get girls. I want to rap because I want to get girls. All of these things, what she's talking about here, when they hear, oh, promote promiscuity, men are not going to push back on that because it benefits them, right? The thing is, like I said, when they get older and they start making that switch, or they have daughters, then they realize, whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Which is why when I point out this clip, the Will Smith and Martin clip of the young man coming.
Bad Boys 2, was it?
Bad Boys 2. And I laughed at that myself.
Yeah.
But here was a young man coming to the house. He addressed them properly. And what did they do? They tried to scare him physically.
Yeah, right.
There's another movie with 50 Cent. We all laughed at that. Oh my God, he's so stupid. And then they're waving a gun in his face, right? 50 Cent did one too, where he's a bank robber and he's trying to teach a young man about he's a thief. He's an actual thief. He's robbing banks.
Right. Right.
And he's actually trying to teach a young man about the principles of dating. And I think over time, these stupid little scenes in movies, we laugh at them. We don't realize that's out of order.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. If Martin, the character of Martin and Will, if you're respected, we have daughters. If we carry ourselves in a certain way, our daughters would know not to bring certain people home. Because you wouldn't meet my dad's standard biblically.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't have to wave a gun in your face. I don't have to do none of that. But because we've gone out of order and because men realize I could reap the benefits of a lack of morals.
Yeah. And that tactic of the Martin and Will Smith thing, yeah, it's funny for the movie, but in real life, because you know, how many times have men said that? You got your shotgun ready? I've heard that so many times, and it's like
it's become part of the diaspora, really.
Right, but only thing that does is teach your daughter
how to hide it.
No, yeah, or to just be afraid of bringing someone around you. It doesn't give them any understanding of why. It's just, oh, my dad will act crazy if I bring someone around him, so let me just hide it. You know, like that doesn't accomplish anything.
Nothing. You know, so I think men, we have to be honest and say, were we silent because we benefited physically? And I'm including myself in that. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't perfect, you know, and I would say as time went on and I realized that the path that I was on, because I was in the DJ nightlife. I loved it. I had lots of fun. But I also, when I slowed down to look at what was happening around me and the people's lives that I was watching this. This was pleasure for 2 hours, 3 hours, dancing, having fun, drinks, all stuff. But watching their chaotic life, you know what I'm saying? This is the world I was looking at when I really looked at it.
And then you're thinking, like we were saying, you're looking at what culture am I promoting right now?
What culture am I promoting? You know? And I think the thing about feminism from the literature and the ideas, men sat back and really they had no thought process on it, but I think they realized I'm reaping some benefits here. It's like going to like Dollar Bear Wednesdays. It's crappy beer, but you're there.
Right.
You know, so I think that if we're honest, men, you know, like Cabo was saying earlier, those list of things that ushers in manhood, a lot of men just don't want the responsibility and they want to reap all the physical benefits of that comes with being a man, being able to have sex with whoever you want, but none of the responsibility of what comes after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think there's a aspect that the reason why is because you're focused on the wrong thing, and then you need comfort from not recognizing that you're not fulfilled in what you thought you had to go for.
Mm.
And then you need an outlet. And I think there's a perfect storm scenario, because if you think about it, this stuff happened in what? The 60s, right?
Yeah.
But if you look before, what happened before the 60s? That was like the advertisement,
mass marketing,
The baby boomer era.
Yeah.
right. You had it was a booming era period
Yeah,
where
the rebuilding of America, really.
Yeah. So, but what happened like 20 years before that?
Great Depression.
Great
World
Depression.
War One, two.
Yeah.
World War Two.
And so, well, specifically the Great Depression, and from the Great Depression, you had men who grew up in the Great Depression that now don't want to experience that again.
Mhm.
So they're going from one way, and then they're like, they're motivated by never wanting to experience that again. That becomes their focus.
So you get an overcorrection. Yeah.
You get an overcorrection, which always happens. You know how you brought this up a couple weeks ago. Hard times create hard men, right? That whole cycle.
Strong men. Yeah.
Strong men. That whole cycle. Soft times create soft. I don't know how that's said, but didn't you bring that up?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's the cycle. So you look at that from the Great Depression, right?
Mhm.
And then you look at now, if that becomes your motivation, it's not a good motivation. Now you could see like, okay, something went wrong here. I don't want this to happen again. But I think the key is that if you focus on that, and that's your motivation, which I think a lot of people's that's what a lot of people's motivation was. You're gonna fall to a lot of things,
Mhm.
right? You're gonna
compromise.
You're gonna compromise
on values.
right?
Yeah.
And then that's gonna be part of your character,
Right.
So then you think, but that's the way you're supposed to live your life. Now, what happens to the next generation after
Mhm.
that?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They're growing up in a whole. These were your standards, your morals,
Yeah.
right? Your values, right? And any of it is not right, because what's right is, okay, this is the problem. Let me give this to God.
Mhm.
Let me give this to somebody greater than me. Who can understand this? Who knows how to deal with this, right? And I think that's what we miss more than anything, is that we don't have all the answers. And if we don't have God in this scenario, we're always going to overcorrect.
Yeah.
And then it just goes one way, and it's that cycle. You know, it goes one way to the next way, and you see these things, they just go back and forth, because nobody's actually taking responsibility. You might be taking responsibility in the way you think you need to, right? Because how many in every generation, like, no, a man is this.
Mhm.
No, a man is this. You're taking responsibility, but it's in your own way.
Yeah, in an individual sense, not a communal sense.
Right.
Or in your just in a sense of what you think you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But
like now you have the high value man standard of the manosphere, where it's just like
cologne and watches and cars.
Get in shape, get your portfolio up, show girls you got money and status.
That's the overcorrection.
Right.
Yeah.
And every man is looking at, they don't want to do based off of their father or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Right? So you overcorrect in that way, and you dishonor your father in that way, really, right? And it's just interesting how, like, even like Malachi talks about how this Elijah is going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the sons and the sons to the fathers.
Yeah.
Right. It's somebody has to say, I'm gonna hold myself accountable. I'm not gonna point, like, if we're look at these kids today, they don't listen to anything. Like, it's just, you hear this over and over again, right? The one generation to the next, but there has to be a connection from one generation to the next, where I hold myself accountable in this way through God, and then I'm going to show you how I did that, right? But you're gonna have it's not gonna be the same for you. You're gonna have a different set of struggles and problems in this generation that you're gonna have to deal with. But the order still stays the same. How we deal with it stays the same. It just looks different.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. There's an opportunity now, though, because of social media and because of the time we're in, where I think in the time of yesteryear, 20, 30 years ago, with dads and sons, the relation was between sports, right, and not talking. So dads didn't bring you in like, hey, I'm listening to this program, listen to it with me. I'm watching PBS, listen to it with me. You just discounted that as old guy music, and then he discounted you as young guy foolishness.
Right.
And I think now we're in a time, because of social media, we could share clips of certain things where it's not a 2-3 hour interview, but we could say, hey, son, take a look at this. Dad, take a look at this. Let's share certain things. We do that all the time with each other, where I'm not on Twitter. I'm just recently started to use Instagram. You guys will share stuff to me that I'm like, whoa, that's an interesting perspective. Something I see. I'll share stuff with you guys, and we do that back and forth. I think in the years gone by, because we were so divided in maybe the avenues we would listen, the mediums, or how we would listen to things, we would never cross paths with those things.
Or everything was funneled through the same thing, so there was no need to there was no way to share it or find something interesting. You know what I mean? It was like because you talk about parents not being able to connect with their kids, and I think like our dad was really good at that. Like the way he would take something that we were interested in and be like, well, let me show you this about it. You know what I mean? Right. Or he would take us and be like, I found this interesting documentary about whatever it was, the Bible or whatever. We would sit down and watch it together. He would tape it, he would make us watch it. And I think that was how you had to do it back then. There was no just sharing something. There was, that.
And he was unique. I mean, in the short time I spent with him with the music and stuff like that, he was unique in that way. But not a lot of people were like that.
That's
Meaning, not a lot of people would be open enough to say, that's interesting, but let me show you this perspective. What people would do is shut it off. That's just foolishness.
Don't listen to that.
That's dumb. You know what I mean? I do it like even now with my wife. My wife and I share things. I share videos with perspective on marriage, couple, idea, God, home, everything. I share it with her, and we've been able to share back and forth, because sometimes you don't have time to sit down and have a 3-4 hour conversation the way we do. But a clip that can break something down and be like, oh, interesting. That's a unique perspective. And I think we have to take advantage of the technology now and use it to be able to not enlighten, but to basically open people's mindset to, a new process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's play this next clip you sent me. This is another one from Pearly.
Is there a high-value woman?
Do high-value women exist? If so,
okay.
Who are they?
Well, so this is an interesting question. I pondered about this a little bit too, because there's a lot of people that will ask, like, high-value men. So that's the other side of it, is does a high-value man exist, right? People are like, what's a high-value man? Well, that's an easy question to answer. It's just a high-value man. First of all, who measures value? Like, we have to have an objective standard. We can't be delusional and be like, everybody likes different things. Well, if this girl's into this kink, then she's a high-value woman. It's like, is she high-value because you're into crapping in her mouth and she takes it? That makes her high-value? That's absolutely crazy. A kink doesn't make a person high-value. It makes them a sexual object. I can buy a sexual object, and if I can buy it, it's not going to be a lot of value in the marketplace, because there's a lot of dudes that can buy it. So who determines value? That's an interesting question. And the answer is it's the market that determines the value. And like, for people who don't know what that means, it's like, buy my house for $1 billion. It's like, but this house sucks. Yeah, but I determine my own value. It's $1 billion. How many people will buy that house? 0 people. Who determines the value of a house? The market. What does that mean? It's the willing number of buyers that are going to pay the maximum price, and the highest bidder usually wins. So the value has to be determined by the highest bidder. That's how things work in life, right? So a high-value woman would be a woman that is sought after by the highest bidder, the highest bidding man. Now, this is a really interesting question, because this is I actually had a really interesting discussion with a friend of mine about this. Like, what does it mean to bid on a woman? See, this is where women get confused, right? Because women are like, oh, a lot of guys want to sleep with me and they DM me, so I'm a high-value woman.
Yep.
But that's a misnomer in the value marketplace, and there's a really easy answer for that, right? Like, here's a question for you guys: how many people in the world today can go pay cash and buy a Ferrari? Is that a lot or a little?
A little.
It's a little. How many people can save up for a little bit and rent a Ferrari for their wedding or their graduation?
A lot.
Yeah. Quite a lot of people, right? So women are like, "Oh, these dudes are hitting me. I'm high value." It's like, no, you're a rental car. You know, a lot of guys can save up and rent a nice car for a day. You're not high value. So high value cannot be a rental car. A high value has to be an owner car. So a high value woman, by the definition of the market, is just what is the highest status or the highest value or most desired, because that's how men's value is marketed. You know, what is the highest value man that is willing to give you what?
A ring.
A ring. There it is. Yeah. It's the highest value man that's willing to give you a ring. So if you can get dudes that want to hump you, but they don't want to give you a ring, you're not high value. And that's the answer. Do high value women exist? Yes, because I'm married for 10 years with 4 kids. And I know a lot of other dudes that are doing pretty darn well that are married to these women.
But then it goes back to what I was saying before, so it's contextual. So it's like, I could say my mum's high value, but my mum's done a lot of stuff that other people would have deemed to be high value, but my mum's high value because she's worth something to me. She's my mum. She raised me.
Yes, but we're talking about sexual market value. We're not talking about do I love my mother. It's a totally different.
Yeah, come on, dude. Yeah. Stop thinking like a. I'm not gonna say it.
Simpy dimpy.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts? Why did you want to go into that?
Just the way he talked about it, and how we don't think about stuff in how we value something, right? And how it looks. The market thing is interesting,
yeah,
right? Because the market. There's something called purchasing power, right? What is purchasing power?
It's how much you can purchase.
How much you can purchase,
yeah.
And it changes in terms of how much money you have. If inflation comes in, right, your purchasing power changes. What kind of money do you have,
Right.
All that stuff is determined on purchasing power. So, what are you purchasing with? And then there's some. Have you ever heard of hoflation?
No. What's that?
It's like another term they're using now, like in today's market.
The manosphere terms.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. So like, think about like women are thinking that they're more valuable than they are, which is kind of what he was saying,
right?
Because they're being hit up by all these men.
So your value, your sense of value is inflated. So it's a bubble,
right? So you think you're more valuable than you actually are until it pops,
right?
Until that bubble pops.
Hoflation, the concept of men having to work 20 times harder than their grandfathers did for women 20 times worse than what their grandmothers were.
Wow.
Definition.
Man
is
through
the roof right now.
Why don't you get a girlfriend? Man too, because hoflation is insane at the moment.
Hoflation is sky high. I blame Biden for this.
So I think you have to be truthful with women.
Yeah.
You have a lot of the issue is that men, like you talked about this, right? You were just saying men stay quiet because they
reap the benefits.
They want something sexual, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, that's momentary. They're not thinking about the future.
They're not thinking about culture.
They're not thinking about much.
Yeah.
Right? They're not being responsible.
Right.
Yeah. They're being very irresponsible. But the ones who have the most purchasing power are going to be the ones that shift culture.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones that change the market. Right? Because he just said it, like the ones who can spend the most or bid the most, they're the ones that actually control the market.
Yeah.
Right? And if you think about it, that's what Jesus did. He came in and he purchased us at a high price. He flipped the market on its head.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, and we can we can do that for others, but we got to be willing to see them for who they really are. You know, I don't value you in this state, but there is a value to you in this state. You know, but are you gonna choose?
Yeah.
Like, all right, you're gonna get what you get in this state. You keep living this way,
Right?
But there is value to you that is seen, and how much that's a worth. Like, think about it. When you recognize what God did for you, you recognize how He valued you, right? You got to recognize how He valued you to be able to value somebody else in that same way,
Right?
Or else you won't value them. So then you'll just use them, and they're not worth that much to you.
Yeah, I think I've said this, and we've talked about it multiple times. I think even the idea of a high value man is completely flawed. Like, because the value is totally being placed on money and status and possessions. You know, there is no focus on morals or
We should say there's two versions.
Yeah.
There's a worldly high value man.
Yeah.
And there's a godly high value,
Right.
spiritual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's like, even think about this. What's the value in doing all the right things when all the evil men win?
Yeah.
Right? How many times have you heard that in the Psalms?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How many
I've
times-
asked that question.
How many times has David given that to God? You know what I mean? So, but there is value.
Yeah.
It just takes patience
Yeah.
and trust.
It takes trust.
Yeah.
Because the thing that you don't understand is the thing that you're bypassing by being patient is all of the wrong, the traps, all of the wrong women that are gonna not be right for you anyway. Like,
What comes with it.
Yeah, the things that come along with that.
Not even just in a woman's sense, just in an indulgence sense,
Yeah,
into the wrong areas, going the wrong ways.
Right.
Never being satisfied too. You know, I often say, as a married man, now I was telling Shaniqua, like, for me, how would I explain the connection of a man and a wife to a young man or a young woman, more specifically a young man, would be this: there's love, there's trust, and there's safety. So the feeling I had when I was younger and I was chasing girls, this idea of being able to get a girl, and I wasn't some womanizer per se, but I participated in a lifestyle. But there was always the after effects. The next day was guilt, was shame,
Right.
was a sense of worry, a sense of
Fear.
concern.
Yeah.
Number one, there could be STDs involved. There could be an unwanted pregnancy involved. And it could be matters of the heart. So the pleasure that was felt prior doesn't outweigh what I feel the next day, next few days. And I don't think men talk to other men about that. I don't think women talk to other women about that.
Yeah.
They'll talk about emotional scars. But now that I'm married, what is that like? To be with my wife in the way God intended it to be.
There's peace.
There's peace.
Yeah.
There's safety. There's no worry. I told her that. I said, the reason this is sacred is because you and I can do this as much as we want. And as long as one of us doesn't break the law, the spiritual law of infidelity, we're fine. You know what I'm saying? And we could make love to each other. We could have that moment. We could be intimate. We could be something for each other. That if no one interferes and steps outside of this, we're perfectly fine. And God blesses that. I don't have to be ashamed the next day. I don't have to be at work the next day worrying, oh my God, I hope I get this girl pregnant. Oh my God, I have a disease. I don't have that feeling because I'm not breaking the law, the spiritual law. I'm also not breaking the physical law. And I say, what do you want out of that? What do you want out of that? Do you want peace in your life? And this building this thing and the legacy that you're going to have with it? Or do you want to be able like, I slept with 200 women.
Yeah.
I have 50 STDs and I have about 60 abortions.
Right.
That's your legacy. You see what I'm saying?
When you were saying that, I heard that last portion of Psalm 23, and goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life.
Yeah.
And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
You're right. And we talk about that and I say, a lot of men need to start saying that. You know, the idea of multiple women. What does that come with?
Mhm.
What they're not going to tell you is the visits to the clinics,
Yeah.
the unwanted pregnancies,
Just the drama,
the
from
drama, all of
crazy
it, the
dealing
scars
with-
of life,
yeah.
the weight that comes with matters of the heart.
Yeah.
What comes with that?
Instability.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not love. That's not love. It's a release. It's a physical release. It's a desire that you're chasing, but it's like drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
You may like it, but drink enough of that, and the next day, it's terrible. You
regret it.
You regret it.
Yeah.
No one has ever said, "I'm throwing up and I feel
Yeah.
great." No.
Yeah.
It's you, in the moment you feel like that, and I think if we were able to talk to young men, and I'm doing that now, you know, where I'm talking and I'm saying, "Hey, listen," and I have to have somebody who's willing to listen, and I'm saying, you know, I'll tell you the flaws of my life, though I escaped it, and I was able that. It's rare that happens, but what I didn't escape, I didn't get the physical trauma, but I got the scar in the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who's responsible for that? Me.
Mm-hmm.
I put myself in that position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think like people chasing things like that, they're like what Jake was talking about before, they're trying to fulfill something, an emptiness, you know, they're sleeping with women and it's that instant, you know, good feeling.
Yeah.
They do that with alcohol.
Yeah.
You know,
Drugs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you don't know what love is, and then people take consolations and think it's love, right? Because love doesn't make any sense, but love is actually truth revealed. Like love is truth personified, right? So the issue is that the only ones who are going to personify love are those who want to stand in the truth. But it's not easy to stand in the truth because you got to look at yourself.
Yeah.
You got to examine the things that you're doing.
Right. And here's the other part, just to talk about what you and Jamie talking about, the value system. The value is not I'm a high value man that could pull women and I can go to Saint Tropez. It is I have 2 healthy children. I have a loving wife. I have a good home. I'm blessed, and that's my high value. That's the value there. I don't need the world to validate that I don't have these physical things. And I think that's what we're trying to say here is that the world is setting up these kingdoms, these things, and these aspirational things that we should worship, but they're not going to tell you the flaw of it. They're just going to make it look like it's something you should want to attain to. Because all these boys, these young men that are angry at women, really,
Yep.
they're angry at them because what they want to see. This is why Fresh and Fit can bring on these really attractive girls, and they're attractive,
right?
And ish on them,
and whatever podcast is the next one doing it.
Whatever podcast they bring on these pretty girls that are not intelligent for a reason to make them look bad. So the men watching it who already have a hate and disdain for women can see those women who they physically like but can't get.
Right.
Watch other men put them down.
Yeah,
you know,
and you're seeing that's the cycle because all it does is, well, now I have to prove myself, and they talked about me, so now I got to prove myself, right? There's no love there, no real love. There's no love of God. What's interesting? I was talking to Mom about this. What's the opposite of love?
Hate.
I said the same thing.
No,
it's not.
What is?
I think the opposite of love is like indifference. You know what I mean?
The opposite of love is judgment through pride. Pride is the opposite of love because
I shouldn't know you're trying to set me up.
Yeah, because
it was a trick question. It felt like a trick.
It was. But because love is about truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ultimate truth is in God and His love, right?
Yeah.
How He loved us,
Right.
So, you know how it says to humble yourself under the mighty hand of God. We talked about that at church, right? You have to humble yourself. Love is not prideful. It doesn't boast of itself, right? But the thing is, like, we start to boast of ourselves and thinking we know and making it's really about the judgments we've made or the prejudice we've stepped into or the prejudgments we've made where things haven't all been settled yet, but we think they have, and we've settled it. So that's where our arrogance comes from and our pride comes from, right? Because we prejudge something before it's over, and then that's where the indifference comes from, the anger eventually comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the wrath comes from. See, now it's the total opposite, because wrath represents jealousy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the total opposite of what love is. But it's really, jealousy and wrath is really the love that you rejected. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And it comes out through judgment because of pride. So you see that with people, they feel unloved. They feel unloved, so they're wrathful because they made false judgments about themselves and about everybody else, because they were prideful, because they settled on things before the time. And that's about healing. You're wounded, right? And when you're healed, you humble yourself, and then you can step into healing and you step into peace. But if you don't recognize that you're struggling because you're hurting, you're never going to come into peace. You're never going to come into healing. So we're seeing this over and over again. You know, like when y'all talking about Fresh and Fit, just made me think about that. Like you're seeing like these men rise up, and because they've made some judgments in their life, you know, they've come to conclusions through knowledge that causes them to be puffed up and make judgments, right? That are premature and not wise. They're actually foolish judgments, right? And then you go and you assert that on people, right? And it's gonna end up in wrath.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing. And then women are mad at men are mad at women. But what real love does is it settles things. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Right? You settle things, because if you really think about it, you make me frustrated. I don't know how to reconcile that. I need help. Right? I need help. So I'm going to God. That's a love that doesn't make sense in this world.
Yeah.
Because most people, when they get frustrated, they're going to talk about how much you frustrated them, and they're going to talk about how much you're wrong. And then even people say, I don't understand you. Exactly, because you got nowhere to stand, because you chose your own place to stand, but you don't really stand anywhere because you can't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't make sense to you. I don't understand how you could think like that, because you didn't humble yourself in love. When you humble yourself in love, now you can see how they got to that conclusion, because you can recognize their life and why they went that way. Because it took all these things to get them to come to these conclusions, these false judgments, these prejudice, right? Or these premature judgments. But when we don't have love, we can't come to those. We can't get past our frustration.
Right.
Because we're too set in our
we're
our ways. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna play like a couple more things before we leave. I just want to show this clip of Joe Biden doing what he does. This is a clip of
Joe Biden.
His staff basically like shutting him up when he's in the middle of speaking, because you'll see why. Hey. Always with the ads.
It's crazy, the different levels.
I know.
I want to make sure you hear that.
If you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
They cut his mic off.
Yeah, we talked about it at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
The president of
The president, the president, guys. You know, they're like,
I'm
"What?
gonna go to bed.
I'm gonna go to bed," and then we talk about
dude,
it.
like it's all there. Think about like it's the president of what? The United States, right? Where how many people when Trump was president wanted Trump to just deal with everybody and round up all of them and get them all. But why didn't that happen? I believe because God was saying you need to learn mercy. You need to recognize that a lot of things aren't exactly how you think. Now we got Biden in here and people are recognizing, oh, this ain't what we thought it would be. Right.
But he's rounding up people.
Right. But he's rounding up people and he's
putting them in jail.
But you had to see that other side, right?
Yeah.
How many people were you have these divisions that and this indifference that becomes so divisive. But when you start to see the other side and you're willing, how many people that didn't like Trump whatsoever now are like, yo, all right, I see it now, I get it now. He actually wasn't that bad. But it takes time and it takes patience. And a lot of us, especially in America, we don't got no patience. We want the quick fix. We want it right now. We don't know how to wait for things, because we're so used to Amazon.
We're spoiled kids.
We're spoiled.
Yeah. So this is a clip of when Biden talked about the new vaccine they're going to roll out.
We know that these vaccines work, right? We know when people stay up to date with their vaccine, that works.
Matter of fact, I signed off this morning on a proposal we have to present to the Congress a request for additional funding for a new vaccine that is necessary, that works.
You heard what he said?
That's not necessary?
No, he said that works. He said, I'm going to try to... Let's play it again. Pay attention to what he says.
I signed off this morning on a proposal we have to present to the Congress a request for additional funding for a new vaccine that is necessary, that works.
So admitting the fact that the previous vaccine
we need a new vaccine that actually
didn't
works. Yeah. That actually works.
And why do they need funding for it when they made billions and probably trillions of dollars off of this?
Because the same way The Rock and Oprah needs money for how
Come on. They don't want use their money. They want to use it. Wait, first of all, the government doesn't have any money. That's all our money anyway. They don't want to use the other money we gave them. They want to use new money we gave them. So that'll take us into this article from the New York Times. The CDC recommends new COVID vaccines for all Americans. Everyone aged 6 months and older should get at least one dose, the agency says. 6 months and older. How you guys feel about that?
Wait, you know how we feel.
Should get at least one dose of this new vaccine coming out because of the new variant. What is it called? Let's see if they mention it in here.
First of all, y'all know it's the same vaccine. Y'all not spending. Y'all just want extra money.
Yep.
It's the same thing. You're not spending more money to make, anything new. You just want that money.
They just came out with protocols for what's it called to get rid of those proteins.
Oh yeah.
What's it called?
The spike proteins.
Spike proteins.
No, but I'm saying there's like a protocol.
To
get rid of them. Detox.
Detox. Yeah.
To detox from the spike proteins.
Spike proteins. Yeah.
That's funny.
So you want to put more spike proteins in your body that are killing you?
I just had a guy in the gym say to me that he got 3 shots and he just had 4 times COVID.
Yeah.
And he just had COVID a couple of times.
Well, you heard him say he wants to do one that works. That's why he's doing it. He wants to do one that works.
But he said he's not doing it again.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not getting any more shots. That's it.
Yeah.
People are waking up.
Yeah, it's because people aren't are pushing back against it now. It's like, no, you're not gonna lock us down again. No, you're not gonna. That's not gonna happen. All right, and one last clip before we get out of here.
It's election season.
Yeah, it is. But I don't think they could pull that off again, man. This is the mayor of New York totally contradicting himself.
Oh, Mr. Migrant Man himself.
Yeah.
Guy.
Let's watch.
Now there's a problem.
Let's watch him literally 1 year apart, these statements.
You pledged during your campaign to keep New York City a sanctuary, a city. Do you have any concern that policy is attracting more people to the border, more people to cross the border to make that dangerous trip?
No, not at all. This city has always been a sanctuary city, and we've always managed those who wanted to come to New York City to pursue the American dream. I'll tell you something.
Yeah, legally.
Now, a year later.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We had a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted.
Really?
So, it sounded good in theory, huh? Sounds good when you're running for the campaign. When you think that the problem is over there.
Yeah.
We saw this.
You're far. You're not on the border.
We
so
saw this during the riots, where it was like, oh, it's just property. It's not, people can burn down property.
Sure.
And then when they get to their neighborhood, call the
hell off my
police.
property.
Call the police. Don't burn down our neighborhood.
Jamie and I have a theory for this. We should make skits about this.
Yeah, we have to.
I was going to say this, right? You know what I think? Sarcastically, I'd say this. I think politicians should all wear jackets with their sponsors on them.
Yeah.
Like, an NBA player gets to wear the sponsors. They should all have
Or like
sponsored
the
by
NASCAR.
Yeah. You should wear
to,
Pfizer, Mediacorp, Fox, MSNBC. So we know where your allegiance lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we know this is what you're selling us. This is part of the shtick. This is what you do.
Yeah.
You're selling us this thing, and this is your sponsor. Just like you said, like the NASCAR or whatever it is. Just wear your logo, so we know you're all in on this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's never gonna happen.
Now he want federal help, right?
Yeah, because at first it was nope, not at all. This is
and those migrants are never gonna see that money he's talking about. Just like the Oprah and Rock.
New York will always be a sanctuary city because you never thought that these people were going to make it to your city.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden.
Well, he said New York has always been a sanctuary city.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
And he said, and it will remain.
But it was to legal immigrants.
Yeah, right.
I came through New York City.
Illegal immigrants.
I came through New York City. Where did you come through? I landed in JFK.
San Francisco. I came into San Francisco, went to Tennessee.
It was totally different in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're looking for some help.
Yep. Now it's a problem. Now this will impact the entire city.
They voted for this, though.
Yeah. Well, they voted for him who told them that this wasn't going to be a problem. That he told them that we need to let everyone in. They all deserve a chance.
But they're slick, though, because here's the thing. Like I said, this is a ploy to get more money. This is not going to no migrants to help nothing.
Nope.
This is all the plea that you see there is the money grab.
Well, they're housing them. They need that money because they're putting them in hotels and stuff like that. So it's coming from the people's money. And New York City is like one of them cities that they have a third like income tax, right? The city. So you do the federal, you do the New York State, and you have a New York City too.
And
so
now they have a COVID tax.
They have a COVID tax.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw people talking about that. They have a COVID tax in the city. Like if you go somewhere, you get another fee charged as a COVID tax.
Wow. And are we? You see how it's getting closer and closer to these social credit scores.
Yeah.
The way they're setting this stuff up.
You know who's going to be affected? New Jersey.
Don't settle, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, don't.
We're right here.
This is what happens when we lay down.
We got to push back against that in New Jersey, man. We have to. Like, I know we got close at this last governor election, but we need more people to wake up in New Jersey, man.
Yeah. And they use emotions for you to vote a certain way, you know, like Democrats, immigrants, but you know, you got to do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do it the right way.
Yeah, you can't.
There's nothing wrong with helping people out, but they use that, like AOC going to the border, you know, crying.
Yeah.
You haven't heard of AOC?
No.
Oh.
No.
Did you happen to see Oprah and The Rock? I think who was it? Oprah. And The
Yeah,
Rock?
that's what James
just
James
mentioned
has
that
been
like 4 times.
4 times. That's his
I don't
joke.
know, but I'm just. Oh yeah, but I was just thinking they have the nerve to ask people to give. When they have
They're not
billions
using
of
their own money.
No.
That was the joke he was making. Like they're going on there. One's a billionaire. One is
almost a billionaire.
Almost a billionaire.
She's 2.5. He's 800.
Yeah, and they're asking people, send in whatever you can to help.
There was a lot of videos on that. People.
When
like,
we draw hands together, we come together.
I saw something on X. I don't know if one of y'all sent it, but like all the money that they have sent to Ukraine. It's billions and billions of dollars, and people in Hawaii need help.
Yep,
they get $700.
Yeah,
$700.
I've been watching the meetings and stuff, and people the town meetings. They've been trying to change it like last minute, so not as much people show up to speak their mind. But they're on it,
really.
Yeah, because what they do is they try to shift. They're going to have these town council meetings so people could speak up. Because a lot of the insurance claims have been denied, right? Not only that, but people are pointing out how the coverage, how certain things happen, private fire companies that were able to watch over certain people's property, et cetera, et cetera. So the public has been speaking about how it was handled. And once they realized that the language and the tone of people, let's change it quickly so as much people don't show up. If we get 1 or 2 or 3 people speaking up, but we can't have all these people saying the same thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And they're saying some stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're going.
They're talking about the conspiracy.
They're talking about direct energy weapons and stuff.
Thank you for your 3 minutes. But I just love The Rock and Oprah getting roasted. It's just, I just think it's
again, it shows you it's showing you the shift in culture. I'm seeing it happen. I think I'm very hopeful, man. Like with all the stuff that we're seeing online, and like you said, if you see these videos that seem ridiculous, go into the comments and watch how people are roasting them.
That's how you know.
And you can see how even though media is desperately trying to feed us a narrative that this culture war is headed in a certain direction, I don't believe it. I think there's a shift happening,
and they know it.
Yeah,
that's why they want to shut it down,
and that's why they're fighting so desperately to keep Trump out, to keep certain ideas out of the mainstream, to
we can fight.
Yeah,
we can fight. We can stand and say no. We're not having this.
Yeah,
we're not doing these 15-minute cities.
Did you guys see what happened in New Mexico?
No.
New Mexico, the governor just said we're outlawing guns. You didn't hear about this?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's unconstitutional.
Exactly.
Bro.
So, what do you
There's
think?
no way.
But this is what happened. Everybody was walking in the streets with guns, like in protest, like just open carrying.
Arrest us.
Yeah,
There's no
that's what you have
way.
to do.
Yeah.
Second Amendment.
Yep. But they just completely defied the Second Amendment, and
Not enough cuffs to stop us.
Yeah.
You don't got enough jails.
Yep.
See, laws don't matter if you don't uphold the law.
Oh yeah, it's always been said that if you stand up, if enough people stand up, it would stop. I mean, of course there'll be some resistance, but and like I said, here's the thing, right? Sarcastically, we were talking about people like The Rock and Oprah, and it's not just them, but anyone with this kind of narrative or blah blah. When you go to the comments, a lot of times, if they leave the comments on, it's rare. But you know what they do now? They disable it.
Yep.
That tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
They disable it. When you see them disabled, they don't want that back and forth. They want to push their perspective, their gender, and that's it. And for me, it's like when I see that, I know. Why don't you want it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about them. It's about the people. Sure, it is. You know.
Yeah. Let me show y'all this little clip right here. This is real quick before we get out of here. This is it's not loading.
They don't want you. They don't
I don't want you to see it.
They don't want you to see it, bro.
Yeah. Oh wow. It was a clip of people out protesting in Albuquerque because the governor just openly just put a decree out banning weapons in Albuquerque, and
sound like
all the people guarding her. Who is that? He or Shim? Who's the governor?
He.
People guarding his property don't have guns.
Oh no, it is a she.
It's a she.
It is a she. You called it. Of course, it's a she. Yeah.
Don't go to her house.
So the county sheriff John Allen calls New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's order unconstitutional and says it will not be enforced. So the police are pushing back. So that's good. That's good, man. Like, how do you even find?
Yeah, how?
If they don't vote this person out,
they don't like it's.
First of all, be responsible.
That's not smart and responsible. Dude, like a crazy person can just go and just shoot up these schools.
It's actually good. She's committed career suicide.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But I think the culture is shifting, guys, and I think what we're doing is impacting too, man, and we got to keep doing stuff like this. So we appreciate you guys for watching. Shout out to the people in the chat room who are still here. We thank you guys for sticking with us, and make sure you guys hit that like button, share the video, and don't forget to go to patreon.com/youngliontv to continue to spread the community that we have here and to join the pride. For as little as $3 a month, you can become a Patreon member. And, you can, if you just want to give on the Cash App, there's $YoungLionTV on Cash App if you want to just throw something there to support the cause and help us keep the gear upgraded and get new cables and stuff like that. But we will be back next week right before we go to South Africa. But in the meantime, make sure you guys get the merch, stream our music on Friday. Grateful coming out September 15th. Thanks. I want to thank James for coming through. I know you worked a long day today. You still stuck it in there and did the podcast with us. So I appreciate that, man.
No problem, bro.
And thank you, Mom, for producing. We love you and we appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Young lion go live, yeah. Young lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in. Ooh.